Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go-to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Welcome to the Real Female Entrepreneurs. Today's guest is proof that when you align with purpose, profit, and joy, it's just part of the package. She's an international TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and Christ-centered empowerment coach with contagious energy that could light up Texas and beyond. She's the founder of the six-figure Kingdom Clarity and Profit Program and the Transformational Jump Program, where she helps faith-driven women stop overcomplicating and start thriving. With a miraculous testimony and unstoppable passion, she's pure purpose wrapped in sparkle and strength. Please help me welcome the most radiant Nikki Cruz. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you so much, Angel. And what a beautiful, sparkly introduction. It's such an honor and blessing to be here. Thank you.
Well, I'm excited that you're here. I love your accent. So you have to tell everybody where you're originally from.
Well, originally from South Africa, born, grew up there, and about 25 years ago came across to the States and now living in Burleson, Texas.
That's why you can light up Texas and beyond.
Yep. And we had a short stint in California, short in 25 years short or thereabouts before we moved to Texas. Texas is just a lot more like South Africa, like home in a lot of ways. So
that's amazing. So, okay, let's talk about your sparkle story because this is a pretty unique story. So, can you tell me, please, what brought you to become the entrepreneur that you are today? I'm sure it just didn't magically happen.
Oh, there was lots of magic in it, but it didn't just happen all at once. It took time to nurture and grow. I was in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair for 11 years. And I had so much faith that I was going to be healed and just step out of my wheelchair and continue living out the purpose I knew God had for me. And one day my neurologist said, "You're never going to walk again. It's been too long." My world was absolutely crushed. And I just lost faith in myself. I had a lot of screaming matches with God. You know, those days where you yell at God and say, "I'm not talking to you anymore. You're obviously not there." And eventually I got tired of being miserable because I had let every label, some perceived, some real, that the world puts out there stick. Incapable, never going to be anything, crippled. And I got mad. I got tired of being mad. And I said to God, I will be the best version of myself, whether I'm in a wheelchair or walking. And that birthed in me an understanding of joy, how healing joy is, and how much of a life and leadership strategy it is. And at first, that didn't birth my entrepreneurial journey because I was not going to be a coach. It wasn't my lane. That's not what I was called to. And then I realized that's what I was doing the entire time. And at that point, because I had discovered that in that wheelchair, I didn't think I could do anything. How could I impact the world? But I realized the power of my smile, the power of joy. And especially being in those very challenging circumstances, when I did smile, it had such an impact on people. So it served me and it served others. And I very soon became known as the Joy Junkie. And to this day, I'm still known as the Joy Junkie. And God
I'm
took me
definitely
on
going
this
to call
journey.
you the joy. I'm sorry. I'm definitely calling you the joy junkie.
Oh, yeah. And, I say to people, I'm a Jesus freak and I'm the joy junkie. And Jesus might not be your jam, but joy gets to be everybody's jam. And I'm going to share a little bit more of that story because you might notice I'm not in a wheelchair anymore. And I'm
Yeah,
not
you're
just
not.
sitting upright on my chair. I wasn't just in a wheelchair. I was strapped into a wheelchair. I couldn't feed myself, dress myself, brush my hair. I could do nothing for myself. I tremored consistently and I had agonizing spasms and just contortions of my body. And one day I was miraculously healed and I walked without realizing it. And boy, did the joy then begin to explode.
You think?
So that's the sparkle story, because when we choose joy, when we choose not to let ourselves be defined by our circumstances, we have more to give the world. So that's where my entrepreneurial journey got seeded in, because that's what I help other people to see.
Their joy. Oh my God. In the middle of the junk, you become the joy junkie in their life. Oh my God.
Yeah. And the only thing I'm addicted to is passion, purpose, and faith being in alignment. So it's a safe joy junkie.
JJ, right? JJ, that is cute. That is cute. So now you're coaching, correct?
Yes. Yes. And I
And
I help female Christian entrepreneurs find the joy in their journey, because we get into business not to be miserable and burnt out and full of stress. And especially when we align our faith, passion, and purpose, we should be having joy. But we get so caught up in the daily to-dos. And when we don't have joy, it means we're out of alignment. So I help women to not balance life and business and faith and business, but to infuse them, to bring them all in together, because you're not a different person at work. And I help people stop overcomplicating it by saying, I can't have my values and profit in a business. This overcomplication we get, God didn't make life that complicated. He made it full of joy. So we get to throw out the burnout, throw out the complication. And that's what I help people do, by finding clarity in their calling and in their purpose, and seeing that they can profit from that and live in the abundance that brings joy, not just to you, to everybody else. And that really lights me up. I get excited about seeing people step into that.
so let's talk about that clarity in the calling. That sometimes is a little bit harder for them to find out. And I think that's one of your gifts. Am I right?
Yes. And a program I've been running for a few years is called Joyfully Unleashing a More Powerful Purpose. But you can, and it's got 2 P's, because we serve a God of abundance and because I can't spell. So usually we cannot step into our purpose if we don't know what God's calling us to do. Our calling is only found or recognized when we have clarity on our purpose and what God created us for. And I really am gifted in helping people pull out and see exactly where their gifts and talents lie, that they can align it with what's already in their hand, their experience, their strategies, things they know, to form a solid, concrete business idea and move forward. That clarity, if you don't have clarity, you're ending up wandering around in the desert like those Israelites for 40 years, running your business and wondering why you're not having fun, why you're not passionate anymore, because you're not actually heading anywhere. You're just doing the things. And that's boring. Let's face it.
I can't do boring. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Everything you've been through, okay? We've been through sickness, we've been through building business, we've been through helping women, TEDx speaker and beyond, and building these fabulous programs. What would you go back and tell your 18-year-old self?
I would tell her to stop trying to prove herself to the world, prove that she was worthy, because your worth is given to you when you're born. It's yours to steward, it's yours to nurture. And I really would encourage my 18-year-old self to not worry so much about what other people think, but to stand firm in my own values and not let the labels of the world stick, because they're going to be out there. It's not that people put labels on us, it's that we let them choose. We choose to let them stick. And I would say the only labels you get to keep are the ones God puts on you. And those are all beautiful. So
Oh,
when
yeah,
you say yes, you move forward.
yeah, because labels, or people can put labels on you. You've been labeled, you said, and oh my God, but if you don't accept them and you know what your worth is, you just can move forward.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean, it's a game changer.
in addition to that, we put labels on ourselves. We limit ourselves. We put labels on ourselves. And when you're aligning your faith with your purpose, you see that it's bigger than you, and you can rip those labels off and replace them with the labels God's given you. You can replace the labels that you've put on yourself incorrectly by going in faith to God, hearing what He has to say. And sometimes it's a big shift, sometimes it's a faith shift, sometimes it's a mindset shift, because we get so used to and so conditioned that we should be a certain way. There are so many stories about how I think particularly as women and as women entrepreneurs, how you should behave. And I think, Angel, you're a little like me. You don't like to be put in a box. No boxes here. You know, I am not anybody else's box. I'm my own unique being, and I can only serve people in my own unique way. If I try and do it anybody else's way, I'm not serving at my best level, and that robs the people I serve.
I
So
mean,
that's a
so
that's
many
a big one.
there's so many nugget and bomb drops here. But so you already talked about labels. You already talked about not being put in the box. So many strategies, techniques, and decisions, mindset decisions that they have to make. So, but what is one that has helped you grow your business? One of those strategies or decisions that has helped you grow your business that maybe you didn't think was going to work, but oh my God, it just busted the roof off.
Maintaining my joy, because it's contagious and it's magnetic, but maintaining it by no longer striving, not doing the hustle anymore, but running my business with that kingdom clarity by living in surrender and having God as my CEO. He is more invested in me and my business than anyone else ever would be. So I get to ask him every day what his ideas are, what his input is for my business. Instead of striving and checking all the boxes and doing 600 reels and trying to beat the algorithm, I just step into alignment with God, who's the creator of my business, the CEO, the founder. And yeah, sometimes I don't really listen to what he says because, none of us are perfect. Don't have my angel wings yet. None of us are perfect. So we fall short. But unlike any of the worldly targets we're trying to meet or partners we're trying to accommodate, God's grace is endless. And when you make a mess and then you're crying in the corner because you really messed up, he just says, come, let's try again. Let's do it a different way. Whereas what we know in the entrepreneurial battle is get up and do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again till you get it right. And it's exhausting. So shift, make that shift from striving to surrender. And if that's surrender to your passion, surrender to your passion instead of to what everybody else says you should be doing. That should is a dirty word in my book.
Yeah, they shouldn't. And whenever anybody talks about giving it to God, it just reminds me of the song, Jesus, Take the Wheel. Just take it because I can't do it anymore. Help me.
Yeah. And it makes perfect sense. I have a little picture that came to mind one day, and it often comes to mind again. It's like you're driving a car and you've got the world's best mechanic in the car, in the passenger seat of your car. Your car breaks down and you get out and you start calling AAA and you start calling for a mechanic. And there's that mechanic standing right next to you. All you need to do is ask him to help you. But no, you want to spend the time fretting and calling every other mechanic to see if they're available. And it's right there. The place, your help, your clarity, your peace and sanity. And if any of you tell me you've never had insane moments as entrepreneurs, I question your entrepreneurship, because we've got to be insane. We've got to have those moments of just thinking out the box and taking the risks. If you never take the risks, you never grow. So sometimes you just need that hand holding. For me, God is my hand holder. And now and then I forget to ask him to join me and tell me which parts in my engine to move to make the car go again. And I just start plugging it in and the engine blows up. But when I do ask him, he keeps me going, gets me back on the road straight away.
So you talked a little about insanity, and oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. We sometimes do have a little bit of insanity. So let's talk about the woman who is believing the insane myths that people say about female entrepreneurs. What do you wish these women would kick to the curb and stop believing?
First of all, that there is a mold you have to fit. If I say to my people, if you are looking for a coach who's going to come and meet you in a pencil suit and high-heeled shoes, and you're not for me. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is so much competition out there. There's no competition. There's only one you. You are not competing with anybody else. You can collaborate with other people. You can join together, but you are designed to serve a certain group of people, bring a certain product forward. Nobody else can do that but you. So this whole thing of, there's too much competition. And third is, especially as a Christian entrepreneur, you cannot profit from your calling. We serve this incredible God of abundance. People are too scared to charge for their services or charge too much for it. If you're not giving value, you shouldn't be charging for it. It doesn't matter how much or how little. But we serve a God of abundance. He wants you to serve with abundance, and he wants you to live in abundance. And if you are not making money, how does it represent the king of your kingdom or your father? Because he's not a poverty-stricken king. And when you are living in lack and living in need, you don't represent him well. So stop thinking you can't charge. Stop thinking you're not worth it. And step up there and get rid of that paranoia. Throw out the comparison completely. You are cut out for this. You are made for this. If you have the passion for it, that's your purpose. If you've got no passion for it, don't be an entrepreneur. Don't do anything you don't have a passion for,
It's probably not your calling then. If you don't have a passion for it, it's probably not your calling. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if your passion's waning, look at where you've lost your joy. Because your joy is what will feed that back to you. Your joy. If you're losing your joy, oh, that's a big one. I should have mentioned that first. That this is a difficult journey. That's hard work and no fun. And it's not what you become an entrepreneur for. You become an entrepreneur for the freedom and the ability to make your own choices. Yes, it takes work. It takes hard work, but it shouldn't be a miserable journey. So if you're losing your joy, get back to your alignment because it is fun. And you're as good as any man out there. You're not any man out there, but you're as good as because you are serving your purpose.
Yeah.
I have about a list about 3 pages long of, all the myths. Women can't make money, but I'm sure most of the viewers have heard that before. But those are the big ones, that this has to be hard work, I think is the biggest, that you can't enjoy being an entrepreneur. I have fun.
I have fun too. But so let's talk about fun because, a lot of people go, oh my God, I don't have balance because I have this business. I can't juggle. I'm having just too much. And they're living in chaos or maybe sometimes beautiful chaos. Do you have any suggestions for them?
Oh, I love that word, chaos. I've heard so many people say, don't talk about chaos. Life is messy. Life will bring chaos with it, unquestionably. So it's not avoiding the chaos or getting around the chaos. It's actually a question of enhancing your business through the chaos, creating hope and opportunity strategically from where you're at. And there's your chaos, creating hope and opportunity strategically. Because you know what? God does that. And God keeps working, not despite chaos, but through the chaos. And you can't lie down the first time there's chaos and give in because you're made to be resilient. So chaos can be your enemy or chaos can be your friend.
Wow. You're right. It's just how we look at it. We have to make that decision. Mhm. And just know that we all have tons of little balls juggling and something drops sometimes and we have to pick it back up and put it back in the rotation. It's part of life. That's
Yeah.
it. And
And
it
you
goes
know what?
back to God help me.
Yeah. Think about what the whole of creation is about. It was order out of chaos. Chaos brings so much if you allow it. So if everything's smooth sailing, I would recommend that you look and say, where have I not challenged myself enough? Where haven't I taken? Because that's where chaos comes in. It comes in with uncertainty. The chaos comes in when you aren't totally in control. These very in control situations and people. I hate to tell you, I don't think those people would last very long around me because I bring chaos with me because joy, fun, passion is like fireworks, and fireworks aren't one straight line. So when you are finding everything becomes normalized and mundane, that's where you lose your joy. You need a little bit of chaos so that you can find where to succeed. Now, don't go make your own chaos. Please, it's all around you if you have a look. In some area of your life, there's chaos. And you find a way of changing your approach to it. Because when you hit that chaos, just like your circumstances, the chaos doesn't define you. Your response to it defines you.
Oh, wow. Wow. Drops of pearls, more drops of pearls of wisdoms, guys. Yeah, I mean, that is so true. Wow. All right. Let's talk about a woman who's in the middle of a mess. and she is over. She's ready to throw in the towel. I mean, she's tried everything she possibly could. What do you suggest to her to do?
First of all, I have to tell that woman you're not alone. We all go through that stage in cycles, because sometimes things seem too big. First of all, take a step back. Stop seeing the problem right in front of your face. Take a step back and see it from a different perspective. And before you even begin to try and look for solutions, switch over to gratitude. Switch over to appreciating the things that do go well. And that doesn't just bring a fluffy little feeling around, it actually physically has an effect in your brain. It raises your serotonin levels. And you just open up the doors for communication with other people. And you become a lot less miserable because gratitude occupies a certain space. And gratitude is the highest universal frequency. With gratitude comes joy. When you see things from a different perspective, things change. And as you see them from a different perspective, you may just notice that there is a solution. So the first thing I would recommend is step into gratitude for whatever you've got and step out of defeat. Because if you have a purpose, you were made to complete it. So it's not over. It might feel like it's over. But that's not fact. Just step back and call a friend. Call a friend, a business friend, because family want to protect you and they'll say, oh yeah, walk away. Call a business friend who believes in you and borrow a little bit of their faith in you for the day. But gratitude is the start.
They might be able to see the silver lining inside of it. And I mean, sometimes, guys, gratitude is even in the mess. You have to be in that mess. You have to be grateful for that mess to be able to come out of it, to see what really needs to happen.
Yeah, and in that mess, there's always a lesson. There's always a lesson whenever there's a challenge. So for me, I stop and I say, God, what do I get to learn in this moment from this or through this? And sometimes I don't really want to hear the answer because I'd rather God just changed it all and took it away. But I get to learn from that place and grow from that. And that will enhance my business. Maybe it was a tech mess I made. Maybe it was a huge interview I fumbled. Maybe it was nobody responded. Maybe it was just that I did something that didn't work. It doesn't really matter. What do you get to learn about you, about God, about your faith, about your calling in that moment?
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up another subject. If you don't want to talk about it, just tell me, Angel, no. And I'm being in a wheelchair for how many years?
11 years. And I'm happy to talk about it because it's gone. And that was a growth and learning time for me.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was some gratitude in there. There was a reason that, yeah.
It was quite a journey. I actually had an asthma attack, a very severe asthma attack. And we thought I was fine. I was in Stanford Hospital and they kept me overnight for observation. My heart rate was running really high. It was like 197. The restroom. And my heart rate went nuts and I started shaking. Until then, I'd been fine. And it was, I to this day remember that moment as the alarms on the monitors started blaring. My IV pole went flying over and I just had no control over any of my limbs and this incredible shaking and spasming. And every limb went flying in a different direction. And I thought that was going to go away as fast as it started. well, 11 years later, I was still waiting for it to go away. But during that period of time, there were many ups and many downs. And something that I am actually extremely grateful for is I built a relationship that was so close to God because I was so difficult to be around that very few people were still around. So although there was a negative in that, and it was a very lonely time because I would have found it difficult to be around me, but I didn't have a choice. However, number one, my joy continued. My faith was strengthened. And I just saw God moving in my heart, in my life, in such an incredible way. He was the only constant in my life at that point. He was always there for me. And I had to learn to be a little bit more self-disciplined because a lot of stubborn moments. I wanted to do things that I couldn't do physically, emotionally, or otherwise. I wanted to move my living room around, and I was stubborn. So I would put the brakes on my wheelchair and try and push the furniture with my feet. And I soon learned that there are certain things that you just don't do on your own, no matter how stubborn you want to be, no matter how resilient you want to be. But I also learned that you get to still try and not give up.
You definitely did not give up. You definitely did not give up.
No. And when they said to me, "You'll never walk again," I was furious with God. But when I chose to do it differently, the biggest thing I learned was that I got to choose who I was. I got to choose whether I let the world's labels define me or not. I got to choose whether I was going to be miserable or if I was going to choose joy. And I realized that I got to choose to be grateful for what I did have. That smile that I had, that was the only thing I could be grateful for at that point. And that gratitude grew. And, knowing that you get to choose is powerful. And the choices you make affect not just you, but the people around you. Choosing to smile when it's tough. Not fake it till you make it. I don't believe in fake it till you make it. But choosing to smile even when it's tough. To be joyful. And joy isn't always having a smile on your face. It's knowing that there's a positive future. It's knowing that there's something worth going for. But realizing the power of that was huge. And yes, I was miraculously healed. It was absolutely a God thing, but brought through, I believe, a long way because I chose joy. And joy has a healing power. And again, that comes back to that neuroplasticity. It affects your brain. It rewires your brain. I didn't know any of that at the time. I learned that since. Then I thought I was really smart to choose joy.
All right. Well, that's the past. Let's talk about the future. Give me a sneak peek into what's going on with you and your businesses.
So exciting. I have a business vision of planting small schools throughout the world to help women recognize their value and become skilled and equipped. And I'm starting to connect with other people, mainly in Africa, to look at doing some conferences and things over there. That might be a bit way off, but I get to do that through my new program, which will soon be launched, which is the 6-Figure Kingdom Clarity and Profit Program. Teach women how to profit from their business, take it to that next level without confusion. And that really is the biggest next step, but also my podcast, new podcast. It's been on pause for a month, but we're coming back with amazing guests on the Entrepreneur's Joy Inspired podcast about running kingdom businesses, just learning from other people with experience. So,
yeah, exciting. That's going to be so fabulous. I'm excited about that for you. All right. Tell me, I mean, we already know a lot about you, but can you tell me something unexpected? Surprise us. What else is there?
oh, I'm a little bit of a creative, but I'm hugely creative. So, if that makes sense to anybody, you'll know what I mean. And I'm looking at launching a line that goes with my business that expresses my creativity, doing more of my actual beadwork, doing more subscription boxes. That's still to come in the future. But I have to tell you, my funniest story is that I am a springboard diver. I dived in the South African National Championships when I was 15 years old. I came last because I'd only just started diving, but I dived. So I fell off the board for the last three. So something you don't know about me, and you'll see a lot in the future, is that I am a risk taker and I don't mind what other people think.
So you were a diver, like from how high up?
10 meters. I didn't have all for the South African National Championships. I didn't have all 10 dives, but your feet have to leave the board for you to not be disqualified. So I stood on the edge of the board, arms out, and fell off the board and came last, but I dived.
That one's great. I love that one. That's a great story. All right. Let's pump up some music. Give me some music that you love.
Oh, you're going to get me bopping here without it even playing. First and favorite, CeCe Winans. You want to get yourself going in the morning? CeCe Winans' Fire. That is the most incredible, empowering song. Faith-based, but boy, that's a good beat. And the second one is when you want to just have overflow, is CeCe Winans again, I've Got Joy.
Both fabulous songs, amazing songs, and they would get people up and going. It would be. All right, give me some books. I know you love your books, so give me some books.
I do love my books, and I have to say, with a whole lot of levity, because it's not always serious. My first and daily read is the Bible. Scripture isn't as serious as everybody thinks. It's full of business strategy. It's full of personal advice. It's full of stories, some hairy, some cool. But you know what? It's an amazing book to read because it's filled with love. And it is God's entire love story to us. So that is my absolute favorite book, and it's my go-to for anything. And a couple of my other books are a couple that I've been part of, compilation books. The first one is The Gift of Pain. And I'm chapter 1. And this is an incredible compilation of 31 authors, all putting their stories in short form. People who have overcome adversity. Mine is my story of getting out of the wheelchair, but it's created as a journal. So with every one of those stories comes a daily journaling for people to deal with adversity in different ways. Beautiful book. And then, of course, Reboot. How to reboot when your leadership is running dry. Well, guess what? My reboot strategy is go to God. But when you get to reboot, you get to wash out all the old garbage and bring it in. But a compilation of a number of incredibly powerful leaders sharing their concept, their system to reboot. And then Awe is an incredible book, AWE. And I gone blank on the author, so you guys can go and look it up. But it is the awe of God is powerful on how we can change and shift our mindsets. So there's just a few. I could go on for a while on books, but I'll keep to those 3. 4, I meant. I'll keep to those 4.
All right, what about quote unquotes?
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I know that for fact because I changed the way I looked at things, and it changed the way I looked at things from being in a wheelchair to look at them from standing up. So it works. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Wow. And do you have a quote?
I have a quote.
Give me yours.
Joy stands for joy. Just own yours. Your joy is your responsibility. Don't blame anybody else that you don't have it. It's your responsibility. Choose it.
Wow. All right. Even a little bit more fun here. If you had a superpower for just 24 hours, what would it be?
Oh, that's easy. Teleportation. Can you imagine visiting South Africa to see my family, Uganda, and then maybe a little visit up to heaven and then back to carry on serving and do my ministry? What an amazing superpower that would be.
So, all right, you already have so much motivation. It oozes out of you because of the joy. But wonder if there was a day where you just was like, okay, and you just didn't want to do anything at all. I mean, we get this ways, don't we, sometimes? What would you do to get motivated and revved up?
I would put CC Winans Fire on. That's one thing I would do. But the second thing I would do is go into praise and worship and gratitude. Be intentional about choosing gratitude. And then I would actually start doing some crafting, some drawing, some painting, some just for no purpose, just fun crafting with my worship music on.
And beadwork, obviously beadwork, right?
Yep. Beadwork, jewelry making, love it.
Yeah. Did you make what you're wearing right now on your neck?
I didn't actually. That's not
Okay.
what I made, but I think I appreciate doing beadwork now because it was something I kept trying to do when I was in my wheelchair,
Mhm.
but I had these tremors, so it was this endless mismatch. It was rather frustrating, so now I enjoy being able to do it. And I make my own beads out of polymer clay and Fimo clay and things.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so I have fun. I have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, creative, totally. All right. What is the best way for our audience to stay connected with you? You're so amazing. I mean, they're gonna fall in love.
Well, thank you. The easiest and best way is on Facebook. Just Nikki Cruz on Facebook, and I think it's nikkicruz.7. That's the best way. You'll see me all over the place. The Joy Junkie I have a buddy called Jibber, who's my co-host, who I, funnily enough, don't have sitting next to me, but he's got a long neck and he's got big eyes and a face that you see on some of the posts. That's Jibber. Or the website, joyinspired.com.
That's amazing. And I think you have a giveaway in there too for them.
I do. You know
You
those
went,
days when you're just not feeling so good? And this giveaway is called the Joy Reset. And it's a downloadable PDF that will give you some strategies to reset your joy so that you can become more magnetic with your joy. You can find that place of peace and empower yourself so that you can have more clarity and confidence as a leader with your teamwork. It's got daily prompts, all sorts of stuff, and you will find that on the website.
that's amazing. Thank you for that. They are going to love that because it's, if you need a little joy and a reset, go get it. All right. I know you're going to have a fabulous mic drop for them to leave them with something maybe we haven't spoken about yet. Pearls of wisdom from you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Lots of pearls on this necklace today. I think a lot of them I didn't even plan to say. So my pearl is, I repeat it again, do not be defined by your circumstances. Be defined by your response to your circumstances.
Yep. No, Nikki, thank you so much for being here with us. You're such a blessing. Mwah. Love it.
Thank you so much. What a blessing and a privilege to be here. Thank you for this opportunity to share with your audience a little bit of sparkling joy.
I love it. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.